Oh, I also just realized I didn't notice until now. Biomorph and Steadfast have also gone to bed. I do recognize that it is pretty late for North America, and it's also getting late for Europe as well, so it's not at the best time. But yeah, massive shout out to Steadfast and Biomorph. Just like Zombie Grub, they were also casting in English, and they were also providing as much coverage as they could. But alas, they did have to bow out in the end. I believe they're getting ready because there's another broadcast later on, which we're going to be casting as well, and that is, of course, Taiwan and Hong Kong. Oh. But before that happens, we are still here in North America, and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Moondance ESL, we have the Canadian Protoss player himself. He is red, representing Team Super. It is TriGGeR. And spawning in the top left hand corner of Moondance ESL, we have the American Protoss player, also representing Team Super, as this is a bit of a team kill. It is Rhizer. I see already in the chat, and hey, the land of Protoss. See, papi, see. Oh god, to be fair, I mentioned this earlier, and I guess I should mention it again for all the newer people tuning in. I hope Scarlet is okay, but Scarlet didn't sign up today, so our usual Zerg representative wasn't available. Same for Terran. Both Vindicta and Future didn't sign up either, so without them, without the, you know, resident Terran and Zerg kind of hierarchy in North America, Protoss reign free. They reign supreme. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. As we get into this, honestly, sorry, I didn't even get to mention this. I'm a little bit surprised, but Moondance for game 1, we've only seen Moondance one other time today, and that was in a best of 5 against Neeb versus Estrella, and that's because they only had one veto each, so Moondance made it through the vetoes. But this is one of the more unorthodox maps in the map pool. Again, those who don't know, there is a pocket base here for either player, but it's also a weird pocket base because there's only one gas geyser, there's only 6 mineral patches as well. It's like half a base, or maybe like 60% of a base. Like, it's kind of weird. Like, it's relatively safe, but it's also not that valuable either. But before I get too ahead of myself, things are popping off. Already, we do see an adept opener here from Rhizer. He wants to go across the map and deal some damage. TriGGeR with his probe is going to confirm this. The adepts have revealed themselves to this probe, so TriGGeR knows to be a little bit more defensive. But he's not just going to be defensive, he's going to be aggressive, because TriGGeR opens up with a robo. Oh, the aggression is real. Who needs Blink when you have a Warp Prism? And when you have Immortals. Oh my god. So TriGGeR going to be staying on one base for much longer. Instead of investing into a Nexus, he did go for the tech instead. Rhizer is none the wiser, as his probe across the map was dealt with earlier. Already TriGGeR meeting these Stalkers in the middle of the map. I love it, using these side blockers to make things a little bit awkward. TriGGeR does escape. Sorry, Rhizer escapes with his adepts. Oh my god, but TriGGeR catches him. How? How does he know? Oh my god! And just like that, an adept goes down. The opener for Rhizer not really paying for itself, and here comes that prism. We were talking about it earlier. TriGGeR with 3 gates wants to be incredibly aggressive across the map. And does Rhizer have enough to defend? He's been doing nothing but warping adepts. Adepts are okay, but when we're talking about like equal numbers, when we're talking about Stalkers versus adepts, you want Stalkers, not so much adepts. And he's still warping in more adepts. Oh my god. Okay. Rhizer really wants to get across the map, but it's TriGGeR that's coming to him. Not like this, papi, not like this. The adepts do shade. Thankfully, they don't commit to the shade. He needs everything he can at home to defend. He does have a War Prism. He has his own Immortal on the way. Is it going to come out in time, though? That is the question. With Shield Battery, with Overcharge, and with Immortals, it's possible that Rhizer could defend, but again, he just doesn't have a lot of firepower, not with adepts. Overcharge is popped, and that's going to buy a little bit more time. The Immortal almost done here for Rhizer. But even if it gets done, he has to make sure he babysits it. He has to keep it alive. So keep it alive, Bobby. Keep it alive. Here we go. TriGGeR moves on forward. He's going to focus down the pylon. The pylon is going to go down. Overcharge is no longer available. Sorry, Shield Battery is no longer available. The Immortal is dishing out a lot of damage, but the micro is too damn good. I just realized that almost nothing shoots up as well. The Immortal getting focused down, already taking some hold damage. We do have a sentry for a force field, so TriGGeR has to be a little bit careful pushing up this ramp. But he's okay, biding his time. Again, going to be able to take down this natural. If he wants to, he can expand behind this. Oh my god, he's going for a Robotics Bay? He's staying on one base. He's going for disruptors, question mark? What is he doing? Oh my god, the force field is clutch. The Immortal goes down. Rhizer is stuck on the low ground. All the units are going to go down. Every single unit does fall. Rhizer only surviving with a single Immortal and a single Adept. And TriGGeR isn't even going to need his Robotics Bay, let's be real. Great minds think alike. Rhizer also goes for his own Bay. What is happening? This is what I'm talking about. GG gets called, and TriGGeR does take game number 1. Oh. With almost like I don't know if I'm comfortable enough saying like a build order win, but it was very unfortunate that one, Rhizer's scouting probe died so early on, and 2, that he decided to double down on Adepts. Adepts are great at killing workers. They are horrible at killing stalkers. They are not what you want defensively. Because of that, he just... yeah, it was kind of the worst case scenario for him. I mean, sure, he had an Immortal, and that's fine and all, but at the same time, like, his opponent had a Prison to micro against it. We saw the force shield on the ramp as well. Like, that was just really unlucky for Rhizer. The fact that he had opted to go for so many Adepts, and he didn't know that his opponent was going for a 1-base all-in. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. And just like that, TriGGeR is ahead in the series and only needs one more win to move on to that qualifying match. Slowly around 4 AM here, getting... oh my god, and I miss the men with guns, aka here Marines. We miss the Marines, papi. But also, shout out to anyone from Europe that's still awake right now, because it is a god-awful time to be awake. As Iran said, slow Iran, 4 AM in Europe. Jesus Christ. But here we go, the show must go on, and spawning in the top right-hand corner of Tropical Sacrifice ESL, we have the Canadian Protoss player himself currently leading this series 1-0. Representing Team Super, it is TriGGeR. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Tropical Sacrifice ESL, we have his opponent, the American Protoss. Also, with a little bit of Indian in him, to be fair. Representing Team Super, it is Rhizer. Also, shout out to Molleja in the chat. Hola, papi, like, ¿cómo estás? Ay, estoy bien, pero tengo hambre, papi, tengo hambre. Todavía no como desayuno. Ay, ay, ay. I'm just saying I haven't had breakfast and I'm hungry. But welcome everyone. We still have 2 series left. We have this one and one final best of 5 after this. Ooh. To find out who makes it to TSL, who's it gonna be? Again, game 1 was just really unfortunate when it came to the builds for both of our players. Things just didn't work out for Rhizer. But here in game number 2, things are looking a little bit more standard. We do see both players going for their gate expands, or they look like they want to go for their gate expands. Both players going to be as annoying as possible, trying to delay each other's nexuses. There you go. As both players are being active with their probes, Rhizer being greedy is not going for a Zealot. Interesting. There we go. I don't know if I like this from Rhizer. We can see that it is much later compared to TriGGeR's, which means that Rhizer is going to take that much longer to expand and actually take his base. Oh boy, because of this, he may be forced to just go for a Stargate first. We'll see, as the Zealot already comes out here for TriGGeR, and now he can look to expand. There we go, immediately throwing down his Nexus on location. Meanwhile, across the map, Rhizer just now gets his own Zealot up and running. Oh, it needs a little bit more time before he can even... yeah, he just opts not to. There we go. Makes a lot of sense. Goes for the Stargate first instead of the Nexus because of how delayed it was. And TriGGeR rotates around with his probe and he confirms, okay, I see. We have a Stargate on the way. Oh, and still throws down the pylon as well. Oh my god. Again, being so annoying here. We see the cancel. And now TriGGeR has a choice to make. He has options. Both players have options, to be fair. They both scout each other. TriGGeR knows about the Stargate on the way. Rhizer also knows about the Stargate on the way. Both players could just go for oracles to deal damage, or one of them could be a little bit different and go for a Phoenix first, and that's what I was saying. Because TriGGeR knows how aggressive Rhizer wants to be, he wants to shut it down before anything happens. He does have that Phoenix on the way. Oh my god. And TriGGeR even plans to... Oh, he's going for a double Phoenix. Oh my god. Okay. I thought he was going to go for a Phoenix Oracle opener, but no, just go straight for the second Phoenix as well behind this. Going to be zooming across the map. And again, going to try and have eyes on this Oracle and shut it down. Ugh. And that's exactly what happens. He rocks up as soon as the Oracle finishes, already dealing so much damage. So he's just going to get it. Oh, never mind. Thankfully, the shield battery is going to be able to keep it alive. But what's important is that the Oracle is forced to stay at home. Oof, so far this Stargate opener not really doing much of anything here for Rhizer. TriGGeR even getting a third Phoenix behind this. So this means that, again, TriGGeR, his goal here isn't just to shut down the Oracle, but he can also deal some economic damage as well. Like shutting down this probe. Meanwhile, Rhizer was able to successfully sneak past those Phoenixes. He is here towards the bottom right hand side of the map. He can eventually sneak into the main base or into the natural, but I spoke too soon because the Phoenixes do recall and now they will be home to defend. Rhizer knows that, so now this sad Oracle is stuck here in the bottom right hand corner. It's like, oh no, but TriGGeR is looking for it. Okay. I thought he was just going to make a beeline for the bottom right. I was like, no, TriGGeR, not like this. Not like this, papi. And Rhizer, to try and catch back up into this, he is down in workers, bearing in mind, and his opener hasn't done anything. He knows that he has to do something crazy, so he is going for DTs. Oh boy, and this is kind of a nice move. The Stargate is going to go down because something has to die because TriGGeR did fully wall off. So there aren't going to be any oracles in production for TriGGeR, but he's also already working on a robo, so he will have access to detection to those observers. So it's not going to be like an instant GG or anything like that when the DTs do reveal themselves. Rhizer is going for a faster third base, so this is a way for him to catch up in the workers in that probe count. As the Oracle gets in, and the Oracle deals some damage. Let's go. Does get shut down, but 4 probes for an Oracle, it could have been worse. It could have been 0 probes for an Oracle. So at least Rhizer is able to do that, and with that damage, he's able to take a lead in that worker count. But now that the Oracle is dead, there's nothing keeping these Phoenixes at home. Their job is done, and now they can go and deal more damage. Meanwhile, across the map, we do see a proxy gateway being set up. DTs are already being morphed in offensively. Looking at the units tab, do we have an observer? We do have an observer here at the natural base with the main army. So again, these DTs shouldn't really deal too much. Phoenixes do get into the main base, and they're going to be able to get a couple of probes. 2 probes in total for the time being. DTs are going to try and force a cancel here at the third base, but the observer reveals itself. We see the blink on 4. The DTs do get focused down. Oh. And again, I'm feeling a little bit worried here for Rhizer. He has a worker lead because of the earlier third, but the tech overall, the gas investment, the DTs did actually nothing. They did shield damage to the Nexus. Ay. Oof. And we'll see if that's going to be enough here. I mean, again, thankfully, you know, Rhizer with his economic lead, we already see +1 on the way. We see charge on the way. It does feel like his overall gateway army is going to look better overall on paper. It will be stronger, and TriGGeR is falling a little bit behind in that respect. What TriGGeR is making up for is the army. TriGGeR is up 8 Stalkers right now. It's insane. Unfortunately, he's not really leveraging his Stalker count right now. I don't blame him. The DTs are keeping him at home. Like, he's killed a couple of DTs, but more could waddle in, you know? At least, not until now, but the proxy has been scattered. So the gateway is going to be focused down. Meanwhile, Rhizer is moving out across the map. He has blink, +1 is now halfway done. Doesn't really have a way to reinforce, but he does plan on re-energizing this gateway, repowering. That's it. That's what I was looking for. Oh, Rhizer rotating around, trying to find a way in, looking to try and maybe even cancel this 4th base. TriGGeR, though, isn't too far behind, so I don't know if Rhizer can really get too much done here. Ooh, is going to force a cancel on some of these shield batteries, force a kill even. But only on the shield batteries. Again, this 4th base should be fine. At the same time, Rhizer tried to repower this gateway. Wasn't meant to be. TriGGeR on top of shutting this down. And an interesting choice. TriGGeR is opting to go for a more Mass Stalker Immortal kind of composition. Rhizer going for Stalker Zealot, as he does have charge. +1 finishing up now, going for +2. There is a window here. There is a timing where he just does have better Stalkers overall, a better army, a stronger army, compared to that of Rhizer. Sorry, compared to that of TriGGeR. Yo, these Protoss players are blending together. Blending together for me, yeah. But that window is slowly closing, and it is going to close. +1 is going to finish off for TriGGeR. Rhizer wasn't able to leverage that advantage that he had. And I'm a little bit surprised that he hasn't warped in any Zealots. Like, overall, Zealot Stalker is better than pure Stalker, I feel. Zealots do a great job at tanking shots, diving on top of Stalkers, forcing blinks, getting on top of the Immortals as well. Zealots, they can be amazing. But yeah, Rhizer only has 2. And he doesn't even have a Prism. The first Robo is still on the way, so he can't really be aggressive either. Meanwhile, those Phoenixes from the early game, they come in again. 4 more probes go down. Is this going to force Rhizer's hand? I don't know how I feel about this, just because, again, there's no way to reinforce. There's no way to back up this army. What you see is what you get. And because of that, like, TriGGeR is going to be able to overwhelm this eventually because of the defender's advantage. And yeah, I feel like Rhizer knows that, so he pokes in, pokes out, is going to turn around and head back home. I do like this a little bit more, especially because, hey, +2 is on the way, right? He's chronoing it out as well. Like, he will have a +2 advantage soon, so why force a fight before that happens? Meanwhile, Phoenix is being a little bit annoying here. DT harass. Oh, going to be dealing a lot of damage at the 3rd base. Going to force a warp in back at home. We do have detection, but Rhizer brings everything back home. So TriGGeR buying a lot of time here. Again, trying to close that gap when it comes to the upgrades. Rhizer needs to hit his +2 timing. And finally, he is here across the map. Oh, he even catches all 3 of those Phoenixes. He's going to have a hard time pushing up the ramp, but yo, TriGGeR actually pushes down instead. TriGGeR with a bit of a better arc is going to clean up every single one of these Zealots. He blinks on forward as well. Rhizer losing a little bit too much. DT's intercept. And where's the detection? Ay, ay, ay. Okay, there we go. Observer does meet up with the main army. TriGGeR a massive supply lead. It's crazy to see how much of a lead he has here. There we go, +2 on the way as well. DT's coming in for both players. Both players do have observers as well. Oh, no. The observer for TriGGeR's at home. Rhizer doesn't know that, and we're actually going for a bit of a base trade. I knew this series was missing something. Let's go, TriGGeR. He dives on the 4th base at the same time. Rhizer gets a full warp in the main base. We are going for that base trade. Rhizer diving on top of the 4th base of TriGGeR. At the same time, TriGGeR still not going for the main. There we go. Now that he's dealt with the 4th, he can go in towards the natural. DTs are being morphed in. Where is that observer? Uh-oh. TriGGeR. Observer is still coming in. Thankfully, it's not too far behind. With the observer, he will eventually deal with the DTs, but the DTs bought a lot of time. Meanwhile, TriGGeR is trying to evacuate his workers, and it looks like they are going to be able to escape, so he's going to be able to throw down some buildings across the map. Likewise, Rhizer also trying to get some probes the hell out of here, but they all get caught up. They all get grinded up. And TriGGeR is going to get an Nexus up towards the top left. Rhizer, is he going to turn around? He's thinking about it. He will turn around. I think he recognizes, I think he knows that a couple of probes slipped away, so he can't win the base trade. He has to take a fight. Get the prism, get the prism! The prism! The prism does go down. Rhizer trying to take a fight, trying to find a way in. We can always recall. We can actually always recall if we need to. But TriGGeR doesn't have to go down this ramp. He can always just blink down if he wanted to. Rhizer, is he going to really try and force himself up? He does blink on forward, but again, we have detection. DTs are being cleaned up one after the other. The Immortal of TriGGeR is going to fall, but we're equal in upgrades, and TriGGeR just has the numbers. GG gets called. TriGGeR takes the series 2-0. I was going to say, like, the one way for Rhizer to win would be for the base trade, but he missed all those probes, so he wouldn't be able to win it anyway. But at least we ended with a bang. At least we ended with something like that here in this series. And TriGGeR, he moves on to have a bit of a rematch with his rival, with Australia. Again, GG, well played to Rhizer. He put on a good show. He made it pretty far. Like, he had a pretty impressive showing. Rhizer, he took down he took down Namshar here in the lower bracket. In the upper bracket, he was also able to put on a good showing as well against Neeb. His run does end here, but yeah, at least, again, he put on a good show.